Have you ever noticed someone suddenly acting completely out of character just when you thought they might drift away? Something shifts inside them, a hidden part awakens, and they do something so unexpected it changes everything between you. When we fear losing someone we truly care about, it stirs parts of ourselves we rarely see. They might do something small, a gesture, a word, or even a change in how they show up, that feels surprising, even unfamiliar. It's not about manipulation. It's a silent, almost instinctive plea to remain connected. These acts often reveal depth, vulnerability, and layers of their inner world you've never witnessed. And in that unexpected moment, you realize how far someone is willing to go, not to lose what truly matters. If you've ever been surprised by someone's sudden act of care, pause and notice it. Hit like if this resonates and share your story, because understanding these hidden gestures can change the way we see love and connection. Have you ever noticed how someone can suddenly act in a way that surprises you, sometimes even shocks you, especially when there's a fear of losing you? That moment when someone does something completely out of character often comes from a deeper place than we realize. This is what we might call the shadow trigger. It's a psychological spark that happens when hidden parts of a person's psyche, usually kept private or even suppressed, are awakened by the fear of losing someone important. These hidden parts, their shadow, contain everything they usually keep out of view: vulnerabilities, insecurities, unresolved emotions, and even unexpressed desires. Normally, these traits stay quiet because they might feel too risky, too exposed, or too raw. But when the fear of losing someone strikes, the shadow can surface in unexpected ways. It's as if the mind whispers, if you want to hold on, you need to act differently, act boldly, act in ways you never imagined. The behavior that emerges might feel sudden, even confusing, because it breaks the usual patterns you've observed in them. Maybe someone who is normally reserved suddenly expresses deep emotion, or a person who usually avoids vulnerability goes out of their way to show care. These acts are not about manipulation or planning. They're instinctive, arising from a psychological pressure point. The fear triggers a confrontation with their hidden self, and in that confrontation, they find a way to act. Interestingly, these gestures, though surprising, often carry profound meaning. The shadow doesn't just push people toward action, it also highlights authenticity. In these moments, the masks we wear in daily life drop, even if only for a brief time, revealing something raw and sincere. That's why unexpected acts can feel so impactful. They tap into depth rather than surface-level intentions. For you, observing these behaviors can be enlightening. It's not just about what they do, but about understanding the forces behind it. The next time someone does something out of the ordinary to keep your connection alive, recognize that it's likely the shadow being expressed. It's an invitation to see them fully, not just the version they present casually, but the parts that only emerge under pressure, and understanding this can deepen empathy, communication, and the subtle dance of human connection. The shadow trigger teaches us that human behavior is rarely simple. Behind every unexpected act, there's an interplay between fear, vulnerability, and authenticity. When someone moves in surprising ways to not lose you, it's a reflection of the inner complexity we all carry, and a reminder that the things people do in love and fear are often far more profound than they appear on the surface. Have you ever wondered why someone sometimes does something completely unexpected to keep you close, even when it seems out of character? Often, it's not a calculated strategy or a conscious plan. It comes from a deeper, unconscious place. These are what we call unconscious motives. They are the hidden forces in the mind that drive behavior without us even realizing it. Most of the time, people aren't fully aware of why they act a certain way, especially when it comes to love, attachment, and fear of loss. Unconscious motives emerge from layers of experiences, memories, and emotions that have been stored in the psyche over time. Some of these may be from childhood, others from past relationships, or even from deeply personal fears of abandonment. When someone senses that a connection is at risk, these buried drives can surface suddenly, guiding them to act in ways that may feel surprising or even confusing to both themselves and those around them. What's important to understand is that these motives are rarely logical. A person might do something seemingly small, like a subtle act of kindness, or something bold, like changing how they communicate, and it's all being guided by a deep inner pull rather than a deliberate plan. It's instinctive, a kind of psychological improvisation that comes from the need to maintain connection. This is why the gestures often feel so authentic. They are expressions of parts of the self that are usually hidden, revealing a vulnerability that is rarely seen. For the person on the receiving end, noticing these behaviors can be revealing. It's not only about the act itself, but about the inner dynamics it reflects. These unconscious motives are often a window into the person's emotional world, showing how much they value the relationship and how far they're willing to go, even unconsciously, to preserve it. The subtlety is key. Because these motives operate beneath awareness, the gestures are not always loud or obvious. Sometimes a change in tone, a thoughtful message, or a moment of presence carries more weight than words. The unconscious mind expresses itself through behavior in ways that bypass rational thought, creating acts that can feel deeply meaningful without any overt intention to impress or persuade. Recognizing unconscious motives allows us to see relationships with greater clarity and empathy. It teaches us that behavior is layered, complex, and often guided by forces beyond conscious control. When someone surprises you with an unexpected act of care, it's often a glimpse of these hidden drives, proof that the desire to hold on to what matters most can emerge from the very depths of the mind. And in understanding this, we gain not only insight into their behavior, but also a deeper appreciation for the mysterious ways human connection unfolds. Sometimes the most powerful way someone shows they don't want to lose you isn't through grand statements or dramatic actions. It's through subtle, symbolic gestures. These small, deliberate acts often carry far more meaning than they appear to at first glance. A symbolic gesture is a way for someone to communicate something profound without words, a reflection of inner feelings made visible in behavior, object, or even timing. These gestures often arise when a person feels a strong emotional pull but struggles to express it directly. Perhaps they've learned to hold back, or maybe words feel too vulnerable or risky. In those moments, the unconscious mind finds a language of symbolism. It could be a thoughtful note left where you'll find it, a spontaneous act of help, or simply showing up in a moment when presence matters most. Each of these gestures, though small, carries weight because it comes from a place of genuine care and attentiveness. What makes symbolic gestures so compelling is that they operate on multiple levels. On the surface, they might seem ordinary or even coincidental, but beneath they carry intention, meaning, and emotional resonance. For example, someone might bring you something that reminds them of a shared memory, a quiet acknowledgement that you are valued and remembered. Or they may step outside their usual patterns in a way that signals willingness to adapt, demonstrating flexibility and commitment without needing to say it outright. These gestures also tap into the deeper parts of our psyche. Humans naturally assign meaning to actions that reflect attention, thoughtfulness, and care. When someone acts symbolically, they are essentially translating internal feelings into external signs, creating a bridge between their inner world and yours. It's a kind of psychological shorthand. A small act conveys volumes about their attachment, intention, and vulnerability. Recognizing symbolic gestures requires attentiveness. They are often easy to overlook if we focus only on obvious or dramatic actions. But when we pause to notice them, they reveal layers of emotional depth and subtle communication. The person doing these acts may not even consciously realize how impactful they are. Their unconscious motives are speaking through the gesture, making it both authentic and meaningful. Ultimately, symbolic gestures remind us that human connection is rarely just about words. It's about presence, intention, and the quiet ways people show care when words alone aren't enough. When someone makes an unexpected effort, no matter how small, it's often a reflection of deeper emotional currents, signaling a desire to preserve the relationship and remain connected. Paying attention to these gestures allows us to see not only their actions but the heart behind them, creating understanding, empathy, and a stronger emotional bond that goes beyond what's spoken. One of the most fascinating ways a person might act unexpectedly to keep you close is through what we can call role reversal. This happens when someone steps outside their usual patterns, behaviors, or roles, sometimes completely flipping how they normally relate to you, in order to meet the emotional needs of the moment. It's a subtle yet powerful expression of care that can feel surprising or even unfamiliar. Role reversal often occurs when someone senses a shift in the relationship or feels the possibility of loss. They may recognize, consciously or unconsciously, that their usual way of showing care isn't enough. To bridge that gap, they adapt, becoming what the other person needs, even if it's not who they normally are. For example, a person who tends to be reserved may suddenly take a more expressive or nurturing stance. Conversely, someone who usually gives guidance may step back and listen more deeply than they are accustomed to. The beauty of this behavior lies in its unpredictability. Because it deviates from habitual patterns, it carries weight and draws attention. We notice it because it is unusual, yet it resonates because it aligns with an authentic desire to connect and preserve the bond. Role reversal is not about pretending or manipulation. It's about flexibility and responsiveness to the dynamics of a relationship. It reflects a willingness to prioritize the other person's emotional experience over maintaining habitual self-expression. Psychologically, role reversal also reveals depth within the individual. It suggests that beneath the surface there are layers of personality that are adaptive, empathetic, and capable of transformation when motivated by meaningful connection. This kind of adaptation is a glimpse into how people can access parts of themselves they rarely show, demonstrating a complexity that is both compelling and sincere. For the recipient, these unexpected shifts can be powerful signals of investment and care. They may spark surprise, curiosity, or even relief, an awareness that the person is willing to move outside their comfort zone to maintain the connection. Observing such moments can deepen understanding and empathy, highlighting the subtle ways humans navigate attachment, fear, and desire. Ultimately, role reversal shows that meaningful relationships are not static. They are dynamic, requiring attention, adaptation, and, at times, courage. When someone steps into an unfamiliar role, not to manipulate or impress, but simply to show up in a way that meets your needs, it speaks volumes about their commitment and willingness to preserve the bond. In these moments, we see the profound interplay between selfhood, vulnerability, and connection, reminding us that the ways people show love are often richer and more complex than they first appear. One of the most striking ways someone shows they don't want to lose you is by breaking their usual patterns. We all develop routines in relationships, habits in how we communicate, how we express care, and how we respond to conflict. These patterns provide stability and predictability, but they can also create blind spots. When a person genuinely fears losing someone, they may suddenly step outside these habits, doing something that feels unfamiliar, surprising, or even extraordinary. Breaking patterns is not always intentional. Often it arises from a deep, internal pressure, a subtle alarm that signals, "I need to show you how much you matter, even if it means changing my usual ways." This could manifest as a shift in communication style, an unexpected act of support, or simply showing attention in a way they never have before. These deviations stand out because they disrupt what you've come to expect, making the gesture feel meaningful and emotionally potent. Psychologically, this behavior is fascinating. Patterns are comfortable because they require minimal conscious effort. They are the safe, rehearsed ways we navigate relationships. When someone breaks these patterns, it suggests that the emotional stakes are high enough to override comfort. It's a sign that their connection to you is powerful enough to prompt self-reflection and adaptation. In a sense, breaking patterns becomes a form of emotional honesty, a demonstration that the person is willing to confront their usual limitations to preserve the bond. For the person receiving this shift, it can feel both surprising and reassuring. Sudden deviations from the norm often grab attention precisely because they are unexpected. They signal that the other person is actively engaging with the relationship and willing to invest effort even in unfamiliar ways. This is different from gestures that are routine or perfunctory. Breaking patterns carries authenticity because it emerges from a moment of genuine concern or attachment. These moments also offer insight into character. They reveal flexibility, responsiveness, and the capacity to act beyond habitual behaviors. Someone who breaks patterns to maintain a connection is demonstrating that their relationship is a priority, not just a convenience. It shows a willingness to meet needs, yours and their own, in real time, rather than relying on predictable scripts. Ultimately, recognizing when someone breaks their patterns can deepen understanding of their emotional investment. It reminds us that human behavior is complex, influenced by a mix of habit, unconscious drives, and conscious intention. When someone steps out of their routine to show care, it is often a silent yet powerful message. They see you, they value the relationship, and they are willing to act differently to ensure it continues. When someone fears losing you, their emotions don't just stay the same. They often intensify, sometimes in ways that surprise both themselves and you. This phenomenon, which we can call emotional amplification, occurs when feelings that are usually subtle or contained suddenly become more pronounced. It's not about dramatics or exaggeration. It's a natural psychological response to the perceived risk of losing someone who matters deeply. Emotions have a way of amplifying when the stakes are high. Love, attachment, and fear can interact to create a state where a person's internal signals become stronger, guiding their actions in ways they might not fully plan or anticipate. This is why someone might suddenly show an unusual amount of attention, go out of their way to help, or express care in ways that break their usual patterns. These amplified responses are often instinctive, emerging from a deep, unconscious need to preserve connection. What's fascinating is that emotional amplification often reveals dimensions of a person that are usually hidden. Under everyday circumstances, people manage their feelings carefully, keeping certain vulnerabilities private. But when emotions intensify, these hidden layers can surface, leading to behaviors that feel both surprising and authentic. A shy person may become unexpectedly expressive, or someone typically reserved may show profound attentiveness. These moments are not rehearsed. They are genuine reflections of the depth of feeling stirred by the situation. For the person receiving these amplified emotions, the experience can be both moving and clarifying. It signals the importance of the relationship and the lengths the other person is willing to go, even unconsciously, to maintain it. Amplified emotions can act as a kind of emotional signal flare, alerting you to the intensity of care, investment, and sometimes vulnerability that might otherwise remain unseen. Recognizing this can deepen your understanding of both the person and the dynamic between you. It's important to remember that emotional amplification is not always about grand gestures. Often, the most powerful expressions are subtle: a tone of voice, a gesture of attentiveness, or simply being present at the right moment. These small, amplified signals carry meaning precisely because they reflect heightened emotional engagement. They demonstrate that connection is alive, important, and actively maintained. Ultimately, emotional amplification teaches us that human responses are fluid and deeply influenced by internal states. When someone acts unexpectedly due to intensified emotions, it is a testament to the complexity of attachment and care. These moments reveal not only the strength of feeling, but also the willingness to step beyond ordinary patterns to preserve what truly matters. By paying attention to these amplified responses, we gain insight into the emotional undercurrents that guide relationships, and we learn to see actions not just as behavior, but as expressions of profound, sometimes unconscious intent. When someone truly fears losing you, a remarkable thing can happen. Their true self begins to emerge in ways that are often hidden during everyday interactions. We can think of this as authenticity under pressure, moments when the weight of emotion or the threat of loss strips away habitual defenses, revealing aspects of personality that are usually concealed. These moments can be surprising, even startling, because they expose vulnerability and sincerity that are not normally visible. In ordinary circumstances, people tend to manage how they present themselves. They control their words, their gestures, and even their emotions to maintain comfort, social norms, or a sense of personal security. But under emotional pressure, when attachment and fear intersect, these protective layers can weaken. The result is behavior that feels raw, genuine, and unfiltered. Someone who is usually guarded might openly express concern or affection. A person who normally avoids emotional discussion may suddenly speak directly about what they value and fear losing. This authenticity is not about performance or deliberate strategy. It is an instinctive emergence from within, a response to a situation where the stakes feel personal and immediate. When someone acts from this place, their gestures carry an emotional clarity that is difficult to fabricate. Whether through words, actions, or small but meaningful efforts, the sincerity of their intention shines through, making the behavior impactful and memorable. For the person on the receiving end, these moments can feel both intense and revealing. They offer a glimpse into the inner workings of the other's psyche, showing how deeply they care and how much they value the connection. Authenticity under pressure also serves as a subtle communication. It signals that the relationship is important enough to evoke genuine effort, honesty, and openness. Unlike rehearsed actions, these behaviors are unpredictable because they arise from emotion rather than planning. Moreover, witnessing authenticity under pressure can deepen trust and empathy. It reminds us that beneath habitual patterns and social masks, there are layers of personality motivated by genuine attachment. When someone reveals these layers in the context of fear or emotional intensity, it offers insight into their values, priorities, and emotional depth. It is a rare opportunity to see someone as they truly are, beyond what is normally presented to the world. Ultimately, authenticity under pressure highlights a central truth of human relationships. Connection is often revealed most clearly not in calm or routine moments, but in times of emotional significance. When someone acts unexpectedly because they fear losing you, it is often a reflection of their genuine self emerging, a reminder that vulnerability, care, and honesty are intertwined. Paying attention to these moments allows us to understand not only their actions, but the profound inner motivations behind them, deepening appreciation for the complexity of human attachment and the subtle ways people express love and care. Sometimes, the most profound gestures a person can make to show they don't want to lose you are not loud, dramatic, or overt. They are subtle, almost imperceptible, yet deeply meaningful. These are what we can call silent appeals. They are small acts or nuanced behaviors that communicate care, attention, and a desire for connection without needing words to explain themselves. Silent appeals often emerge from a place of quiet observation. The person notices the little things that matter to you, the habits, preferences, or moods that often go unspoken, and responds in ways that signal understanding and attentiveness. For example, they might remember a small detail from a conversation, show up at an unexpected moment when you need support, or adjust their behavior in ways that make you feel seen and valued. These actions are subtle, yet they carry profound significance because they demonstrate that the person is attuned to your needs and willing to act on them. What makes silent appeals so compelling is their understated authenticity. Because they are not designed to impress or to seek recognition, they feel genuine. They arise from an unconscious or deeply internalized desire to maintain the connection rather than from a need for external validation. In this way, silent appeals are often more telling than grand gestures. They reveal the quiet, thoughtful, and attentive aspects of a person's care. Psychologically, these gestures work on multiple levels. On the surface, they may seem ordinary or easy to overlook, but beneath, they signal an emotional investment that transcends words. They communicate empathy, attentiveness, and willingness to adapt, qualities that are often central to long-lasting bonds. When someone uses subtlety rather than spectacle, it shows that their actions are guided by genuine concern rather than obligation or performance. For the recipient, recognizing these silent appeals requires awareness and attentiveness. These moments often pass unnoticed if we focus only on dramatic or overt signs of care. Yet when we pause to notice them, they can profoundly influence how we perceive the relationship. They are quiet affirmations that someone values the connection enough to act thoughtfully and intentionally, even in ways that may never be acknowledged directly. Ultimately, silent appeals remind us that meaningful connection is often found in the understated and unspoken. They highlight the power of attentiveness, subtlety, and consistent presence as forms of care. When someone does something unexpected in a quiet, thoughtful way to maintain the bond, it is a reflection of deep emotional resonance, empathy, and commitment. Recognizing these gestures allows us to see not just the action itself, but the heart behind it, deepening understanding, appreciation, and the emotional intimacy that forms the foundation of lasting relationships.